Hello, everyone, and welcome to Advocacy Day. We are here to celebrate many things simultaneously. We all are aware that we are in the middle of our 20th anniversary year, and so that makes our gathering here at Sacramento even more important. But we also are in the middle of Charter Schools Week, National Charter Schools Week. I don't know how many of you saw it, but President Obama made a particularly strong defense of charter schools in his statement about Charter School Week this week. And I was just in Washington where we were able to celebrate that there. Terrific to get back here where I can celebrate it here as well. And also, it's a day for us to carry our message directly into the Capitol building. There are decisions that are being made in this building every single day that have very big bearing on charter schools and on education more broadly. And it is very important that elected officials here hear directly from charter school operators like yourselves, charter school students, charter school parents, charter school board members, the range of folks that we have here today. So I want to thank you all for being here and encourage you to stay connected with us along these lines. You're modeling fantastic behavior that we hope to see adopted more broadly throughout our movement going forward. I wanted to introduce you to someone who is very influential in Sacramento. And I'm coming back from Washington, where they love their football team, and they affectionately refer to their quarterback as RG3. Well, I'm going to introduce you today to somebody who, here in California, from a charter school's perspective, we're referring to as JB3. The first JB would have been Julia Brownlee, who was the former chair of the Assembly Ed Committee, and who had influence over charter school issues for quite a long time. Our second JB, of course, would be Jerry Brown, who is our governor and is a great, great champion of charter schools. The third JB, though, is Joan Buchanan. She is the new chair of Assembly Ed, and she is here to speak with you today. And she's someone who we have enjoyed having a chance to work with during her early months as serving as chair. She has brought a terrific tone to the discussions, a deep knowledge, and a willingness to engage. And that's why I'm particularly happy to be able to introduce Joan Buchanan, Chair of Assembly Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeb. I actually am a big football fan. If you come to my office, I have some 49er memorabilia on one wall. So go Niners. It's nice to have our drought over and have the team doing well. And on the other wall, I grew up in San Francisco. On the other wall, I have Giants photos. So if any of you are from the Bay Area, this is a good time to be a sports fan in the Bay Area. But thank you very much, and welcome to Sacramento. I've been involved with public education for, 3 decades now. My oldest started first grade in 1983. And I will share with you that I was very active in PTA and started a legislative advocacy group down in my district. And we used to bring about 200 or 300 people up to Sacramento every year to advocate. So I know exactly what you're doing. And after I was elected and they handed me 500 letters, I thought, oh my, now I'm on the receiving end and I have to send responses to all of these letters. But you know, there is absolutely nothing that is more important than public education. And I say that whether you're a traditional school or a charter school. And for the teachers who are here, there's no job in this world that's more important than teaching, because you are the ones that prepare our children to be the workers, the leaders, the innovators in future generations. And when you take a look at public education in California right now, we really are in crisis. And the battle, I don't think, is so much between charters and public schools, but the battle is for a high-quality education for all of our children. When I was a kid growing up in San Francisco, our schools were funded 5th in the nation, and our students performed 5th in the nation. And as a state, we spent 5% of our per capita personal income on educating our children. Today, we spend 2.7%. The national average is 4.2%. You can't get the same results, particularly when we're educating a more challenging population, when you cut your spending by 40%. And yet today, it's more important than ever that every child receive a high-quality education. If you take a look at manufacturing, okay, what most people don't realize is that We are producing more and manufacture goods today than we have in the history of this nation. We produce more than China. We are more productive than China, Japan, or Germany. The difference in today's work world is that the manufacturing goods that we're producing are being produced on different kinds of assembly lines. Wherever anyone can replace human labor with robotics or machines, they're doing that. And they're doing that for a good reason. Not only is it less expensive, but you can produce goods to a much higher quality. And so the people who work on these assembly lines not only need a solid education coming out of high school, but they need some college and probably either technical training or at least an AA degree. So whereas in my grandparents' generation, you could get a job and take care of your family without graduating from high school, in my parents' generation, you needed a high school degree. In my children and grandchildren's generation, you really needed a minimum some college, if not a BA or a master's degree, to be successful in this world. And that means that we need to make a deeper commitment to our children. And if you take a look at past generations, if you think about coming out of World War II, when we were, coming out of the war, recovering from the Great Depression, mired in debt to pay for that war, we had the courage to create the GI Bill that sent 2 million young men and women to schools, 200,000 of whom became teachers. What I would suggest today is that we find the common ground that we have, whether we're charter or whether we're public schools, and we do all we can to make the same kind of commitment to our children and grandchildren that past generations made to us. And we do that in order to rebuild education in the state of California. It's the only economic driver we have. We're not going to be a strong economy if we don't have the educated students to work in tomorrow's jobs. And that's all of our responsibility. So I look forward to continuing to work with you. We don't agree on every issue, but we need to find that common ground because our children are too important. They need a high-quality education, and they need us to be able to work together to provide that high-quality education. So once again, welcome to the Capitol. If you have time, stop by my office. I know I have a number of meetings, but if you need anything, please come by. And let's figure out a way to join hands and work together for the benefit of all of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Buchanan. My name is Casey Taylor. I founded and direct Achieve Charter School, which is in Paradise. It's about an hour and a half north. And I get to represent Region 2 on the CCSA Member Council. I'm happy to welcome you. Thank you all for coming today. And now it's my privilege to introduce to you Assemblymember Kristin Olsen. She is the author of new legislation which would expand facilities funding to charter schools. This bill is very important to my school. She's also the vice chair of the Assembly Education Committee. Please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Kristin Olsen.
Well, good morning and welcome to Sacramento. I really want to thank each of you for taking the time to spend the whole day here in the halls of the Capitol. It shows your commitment to educational excellence and innovation. And I'll tell you, my children, I have 3, are children at a charter school in Modesto. So I have seen firsthand the incredible work that you are doing in communities up and down and across California to prove the impossible possible, to prove that all kids, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of their socioeconomic status, regardless of their ethnicity, deserve the opportunity to have an excellent education. And I'm thrilled that because of the charter school movement in part, and because of all the people that are dedicated to improving and raising student achievement in California, that we're making headway. You are part of the solution as we work together, as Republicans, as Democrats, as conservatives, as liberals, as Northerners, as Southerners, as Giants fans, as Dodgers fans. I'm not sure Dodgers fans should be part of the solution, but just kidding. But all of us, by working together as moms, dads, business owners, educators, we can turn the state of education around in California. It takes investment. I couldn't agree with Assemblymember Buchanan more, that we have to be mindful of the fact that in order to improve our long-term economic success as a state, we have to invest in our young people. We have to invest in education and make sure that California can once again be known as the premier state in the nation for educational opportunity again, because that's what we were once known as. And those days have slipped, but I believe we can bring them back. And that's partly because of the innovation that you guys are standing for in educational excellence. It has been such a privilege to author the Charter School Facilities Bill for you this year, to get to know your association better and all your members up and down the state. I'm thrilled that the bill is advancing through the process. It's taken a lot of hard work from the leaders of your association and in partnering with members in the building. So again, thank you for your dedication. Keep it up. Don't let the struggles hold you back, because you are making a difference in the bigger picture. And I'll tell you, every single week on the Education Committee, we are seeing bills that would impact either positively or negatively charter schools in California. So the work you're doing today is very important. Just telling your stories about the lives that you're impacting in your communities. I always like to tell people statistics are important, but there's nothing more powerful than a story, because it's memorable. So as you're meeting with legislators today, please remember to tell them a personal story from your school about how you're impacting the lives of children, about what your teachers and your school leaders need in order to be successful in our state. So thank you again. Enjoy your day. Reach out to my office or me if you need anything throughout the day. We're also on the second floor, room 2111. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the Capitol.
I know I speak for charter leaders across the state when I thank Assemblymember Olsen for her work on that bill. It's going to have a huge effect on my school and many of the schools in my region. You know, poverty looks different across the state. And in many of the rural areas, we serve a lot of needy students, but they're just not quite needy enough. Underneath the current eligibility rules, our students aren't eligible for this facilities funding. Poverty doesn't have a bright line cutoff. And we know that our communities deal with poverty every day and the impacts that it has on our students. In my community, many of our families have a right above the poverty cut line, making us ineligible for a lot of facilities funding. Those communities, those rural communities, will never reach a 70% free and reduced population rate. We have students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, but it's 65 and 60%. In my region, in Region 2, there are only 3 schools in the entire region that qualify for SB 740 funding. That's a huge section of our state that doesn't receive any funding for facilities. AB 948 will help me spend more money in my classroom and less on the actual classroom. Now, we know that our legislators hear from special interests every day, and they need to hear from constituents like you. When we go into the Capitol building today, we're talking to people who we elected, our representatives, and they work for us. Sometimes we can feel a little intimidated by the building. Go in and build relationships with your legislators. I know firsthand how important those relationships are. Each time you meet with them, you find out a little bit more what they know about charter and maybe what they don't know about charter. And you can go in and start filling the holes and strategically planning for your next visit, have them come up to your school and make those connections. I'd like to thank CCSA specifically for organizing this event for us to help us do that. As school leaders, we're not used to dealing with lawmakers on a regular basis, and so we appreciate the training that you're about to give us today. In just a little while, trainers are going to come to your tables. They're going to help you prepare for your meetings inside the Capitol. If you need anything while you're in the Capitol, CCSA staff will be in room 115 to answer any questions or if you'd like to take a break between your meetings. I'm about to hand it over to the trainers, but again, I'd like to thank CCSA for organizing this opportunity for us and giving us the training today. I think that's it. Okay, trainers, take it away, and thank you again for coming.